Oh, that wasn't the right button. Welcome to episode 14 of Lost Signals. I'm apparently really bad at hitting the wrong buttons on my computer. My name is Daryl.
I'm JD.
And it's JD.
Am I throwing you off already?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know. It's been one of those weeks, man. It's kind of been just a little bit all over the place.
I concur 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So how's your week been? Like, you told me a really crazy story that happened to you on the way home from work the other day.
Oh yeah, that was last night, right? We're talking about what happened. Yeah. Oh no.
Oh, a different one. Yeah, we're
about that one.
We're really not that descriptive right now. So
no, we're being elusive on purpose. Okay, so well, first of all, let's catch up on you. How has your week been?
Different, kind of jumping around. I was filling in. Where I live, they needed some help, just some day stuff. So I went and did that.
Right.
I was working outside yesterday. It was 35 degrees, and it was windy as fuck.
Oh god!
Like, oh my god! Like gusts up to like 70 or 80 kilometers an hour. So that was not a good time to be working outside.
No.
But yeah, it was just something to kill some time, and then back to my regular job today, and got to go to the deep dark today.
The deep dark.
The deep dark. Yeah, I work underground in a mine, so it's very dark.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so got to do that. But yeah, other than that, it's been weather here has been shit. I mean, like there's tornadoes. Like I don't know,
actual tornadoes.
Like actual tornadoes, yeah.
Oh my god.
Like there's like the tornado or the storm chaser group that's based out of, well, they're based out of Saskatchewan, but they go all over like North America, like chasing storms. Yeah.
Okay.
They were up here yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's always a party when they show up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They were live streaming from like just outside of my hometown the one day, because that's how bad the storms were. Not this year, but like in the past. And so it's been but yeah, yesterday was nuts. Like just the amount of storms, like Twister-esque tornadoes, like crazy shit. So it was interesting.
Fun movie.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
It is,
and actually ties into what we're going to talk about later. But yeah, no, it's been an interesting week. Working outside and stuff. I'm not a big outside worker anymore.
No,
not really. No, like the sun gets to me. Is what it is. I'll do it. I don't mind doing it. It's not my favorite thing in the world. Yeah. How was your week? Your interesting cryptic message that you seem to message me with like every week. There's always something. It's like, oh, what did JD see today?
Yeah, that's pretty much it too. Yeah. It's so anyone who's ever been in a radio studio or in a radio show, mostly talk radio, there's always one rule, and it's save it for the show. And the reason why is because if you tell this fantastical story when the microphones are off, you lose the magic of telling that story and having that same reaction yet again. So save it for the show. And so every once in a while, like I'll send a message like, hey, blah blah, and not a whole lot of detail.
Yep.
So for anyone unaware, I work in radio. That is one of my jobs. My second job is that I drive big truck, mostly private charter bus, and I drive up to a mine, which is up a mountain, and I make that trip twice a week. And then I make it home every night. It's usually about a 9.5, 10-hour shift.
I didn't realize it was that far.
Yeah. And you know what? It pays well.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And I can't complain. So anyway, so I drive a full-size bus. We're not talking like a school bus. I'm talking like something
like a 53 Greyhound. Passenger.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like the big fucker. Yep.
Exactly. So that's the bus that I drive. So last Monday, I made my way all the way up to Mount Milligan Mine, and I do a quick walk around during fueling and don't really see anything, any sort of panic or anything like that. And then I go to start picking up passengers, and I walk around the bus again because I'm just that paranoid. And sure as shit, there's a small leak of coolant coming out the back end of this bus.
I think we talked about this on the last podcast.
Oh yeah, but there's more.
Oh, there's more. Okay.
Yes.
To the coolant leak that you had.
Yes.
Yeah.
We may have talked about this.
Yeah,
but believe me, it's all connected.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Yep.
So to quickly, summarize this, that small leak of coolant turned into a absolute gushing waterfall of coolant by the time I made it into town. And I was fortunate enough that one of the mechanics was able to fire up a secondary bus, which happens to be at the shop, which is in between my second to last stop and my last stop. So instead of going to my last stop, I just pulled into the shop, switched buses, had the 7 passengers or whoever hop into the new bus, and then I took them off to the airport.
Yeah.
So coolant leak in that bus. The very next day, this is a Tuesday now, everything is going fine. Not a problem whatsoever. Come off the mountain. It takes me, let's see. It takes me an hour to get off the mountain, and then it takes me another hour and a half on highways to get back to town.
Yep.
I'm almost back into town, and I come up behind this tractor trailer, and I notice that there's smoke coming off this tractor trailer.
Oh.
And B, I can smell something on fire.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm in a bus, and I'm trying to figure out where the hell this smoke is coming from, because last thing I want is my bus on fire.
Yeah.
So I'm looking, and then this tractor trailer takes the corner on the road, and it's a banking corner, and that's when I see the smoke is specifically bellowing out of the driver's side front wheel.
Like on a semi truck? Is that what we're talking about here? Yeah.
Like talking 18-wheeler, flatbed 18-wheeler, fully loaded. This thing's got a bunch of equipment on the back of it.
Yeah.
So I see that there's smoke like billowing sideways out of the front of this truck, out of the front axle.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, okay. So I start backing off. Because to me, it's like,
so yeah.
Yeah, because if for whatever reason, if that tire and wheel just lets go, that truck's got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So I start backing off, and it was still clicking along at like 110 kilometers an hour, and it's pulling away from me at this point in time. So finally, like, the smoke just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Yeah. And finally, like this turn, that turn, up a hill, down a hill, whatever, a straightaway, and the smoke's just like, it's thick now.
Yeah.
And then it goes up a hill. I'm behind it, a good distance away. By the time it gets up the hill and then I become square behind it again, it's just fire shooting out the side of this fucking thing.
Yeah.
How the wheel stayed on, I'll never know. But when it finally pulled over, the center hub of this front driver's side steer was glowing, and there was flames erupting. It was just insane.
Man.
Now, with COVID rules and restrictions and whatnot, and I'm driving a bus with a whole bunch of passengers, the only thing I can do is go, beep, see ya. Just keep going.
Well, I mean, what else can you do? I mean, like, that's...
Yeah.
You can't put anybody at risk, right?
No, you cannot. No.
Yeah.
But the guy, like before I passed him, he was already out of there with a fire extinguisher and doing his absolute best.
But so if you could smell it, why couldn't he smell it?
He probably did, and he probably could feel it too, because that wheel, camber, I guess, is when it's
camber.
Yeah.
Camber. Yeah.
Yeah. It was slanted. Like the hub of this wheel just completely came out. So
you burnt the wheel bearing out. Yeah, it's nothing. Yeah. Nothing good.
No, exactly.
Especially when you're running loaded down a hill, probably.
in a loaded 18-wheeler flatbed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. It's fine. Whatever.
So that was last Tuesday. Yeah. Fast forward to last night.
You didn't tell me the story about last night.
No. So, different bus, because the bus that I was driving the prior week was in for maintenance. Anyway, they figured like, fuck, we got to fix this coolant leak. We might as well just do a full maintenance on it.
Yeah.
So different bus, and make my way all the way up to Mount Milligan and grab all the passengers. Not a big deal. And then I counted it out. It is 85 kilometers down a mountain country road, which is well taken care of for the most part, but still, like, there's some trouble spots. And I get to kilometer 24. So you start at kilometer 0, you go up to 84. And then on the way back, you go 84 down to 0.
Yeah.
So I get down to kilometer 24, and then I get all the warning lights. Everything on my dash is lighting up, telling me I'm overheating and I'm low on coolant. I'm like, fuck this again.
Round 2, yeah. Awesome.
Round 2.
Good times, yeah.
So then I immediately pull over, and I hop underneath, like I just fly underneath this bus where the engine is. The bus is still running, and sure as hell, it is leaking coolant. But no. It's not the same as last time. Last time, a section of hose that was connecting two metal pipes had split.
Yeah.
This time around, the return feed and the main feed into the engine, so that the to and from for the coolant, both of them had shook so hard that they started to separate.
Oh, no.
And so, like, I could tighten these gaskets and I could tighten these clamps as much as possible, but it's still just going to continue to separate.
Yeah.
So I'm underneath there. I am once again, twice in 2 weeks, covered in coolant.
Oh, man. That's
I'm doing everything possible. I'm throwing wrenches. I got a couple of guys who are mechanics. They're like, I can help out, but yeah, I see the problem. There's nothing we can do. Just do our best, right? Get back onto the bus. Okay, I got 24 kilometers to make it down to the road, and at least there I can get better reception. So while this is all going on, I'm trying to get onto the satellite phone because there's no cell service up there to talk to one of the mechanics. And anyone who uses the satellite phone, unless you are like directly under a satellite, it's not like Sirius XM.
Yeah.
Right? It's shitty at best. So anyway, trying to communicate with the mechanic, like, this thing is going to come apart. Like, I'm doing my absolute best. At the same time, when I finally get into cell service, my cell phone starts going off. It's the boss from the radio station going like, "Hey, how you doing? Something came up. Do you mind coming into work tomorrow?" I'm like, "Fuck off."
I'm busy.
One problem at a time here.
Yeah.
So finally get down to kilometer 24, or get down from kilometer 24 to kilometer 0. Everyone on the bus is like, just get the bus down the hill. Like, we understand you're doing everything possible.
Yeah.
Just get the bus down the hill. The speed limit down the hill, down this mountain, is 70 kilometers an hour. I was averaging 110.
Ooh.
I had it under control. Still daylight, so it wasn't a big issue, right?
Yeah.
Everyone on the bus is like, "What stop sign?" I don't know.
It's fine.
Exactly.
Stop twice at the next one. You're fine.
Exactly, right? Get down to the bottom of the mountain and quickly run out. And it's still, like, it's getting worse, but I know that I'm off the mountain. It's no longer going to shake as bad.
Yeah.
I can at least make it to the first sign of civilization, which is a gas station.
Yeah.
I finally get to the gas station, and like, it's borderline red line, but like all the lights and whistles are going off saying like low coolant, low coolant, low coolant.
Yeah.
I get there, I park, and everyone else gets off the bus. Like, they're like patting me on the back, like, "Fuck COVID, man." That was awesome. Like, that was the best bus ride ever. So in the meantime, I was able to finally get a hold of the mechanic, and it takes, like I said, an hour and a half to get from off the mountain to town. The mechanic came with a rescue bus within 45 minutes.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's moving.
So not bad, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that was last night.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
came home stripped naked, straight out, like on the other side of the door, got into the shower, turned on the water, and gravel and coolant started just leaking from the back of my head. I'm like, oh, that's what that feeling was.
Yeah. Yeah, and then then the tears and just
Oh, there was a cry. There was
Yeah.
also a beer shower as well. So
hey man, I've been bringing back the lost art of drinking beer in the shower for fucking years. It's actually not a lost art anymore. I'm just really good at it.
yeah,
Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun. I've broken down on the side of the road before, like I've lost like heater cores and stuff, where it dumps all the coolant inside the car. And yeah, that's not fun. Burns your feet and stuff. But that actually ties into another topic that we're going to get into later.
yes,
Yeah. So the first thing I kind of wanted to talk about tonight, I was driving home from wherever the hell I was the other day. Doesn't matter. But song came on the radio. No, sorry. It's a flashback. It actually ties into another thing that we're going to talk about later. Everything's all connected today.
Are you getting ahead of yourself?
Yeah, I'm way ahead of myself. So I was at a record store the other day on Saturday. It was a record store day, but I'll delve into that a little bit deeper later. And I was walking through, and I was like, I saw a record that I really like. I wanted to buy, but I just couldn't justify the price. It was the Crow soundtrack.
Oh,
Do you remember The Crow, the movie The Crow? I mean,
that was with Brandon Scott Lee.
Brandon Lee. Yeah. Came out in like 1994. The soundtrack for that fucking movie is ridiculous. Like Stone Temple Pilots is on. I think Alice in Chains. Like there's just a bunch of like post grunge metal from like the mid 90s, and it was fantastic. But they wanted $60 for it. So it's like, yeah, you know what? I'll just wait. I'll find it eventually.
I'll just look at it here.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, it's so pretty, so pretty. But it got me on the topic, like got me thinking, and then I texted you. It's like, let's talk about like the lost art of the movie soundtrack. Maybe it's not a lost art, but it's not as big as it used to be.
Yeah.
So like back in the mid 90s, early 2000s, like 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
Movie soundtracks were a big way that some of these movie companies were making money. And it was a good way for up and coming bands to get their music out there. It's like, hey, we got a song. It's on this movie. And it's a big movie, right? Like there's a lot of bands that made it big that way.
Yep.
So what would your favorite movie soundtrack be that you can think of? I have a list. I have a bunch.
Instantly off the top of my head, two of them are because of one specific artist, and it's interesting because there's a story behind one of the songs, and it's Kenny Loggins. Now, when you think of Kenny Loggins, you instantly think of two songs. You think of
Danger Zone
and Footloose.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Top Gun soundtrack is incredible.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Yeah.
But what's interesting with the Top Gun soundtrack is that the majority of the songs on the Top Gun soundtrack were songs that were made for the movie.
So was Danger Zone though, and a bunch of other artists did turn down that song.
Yes,
I don't know. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if that was a point you're getting and that I just cut you off. But I mean,
yeah. And that's the crazy thing is like so many artists were like, it's a movie about war. Yeah, we'll pass.
Kenny Loggins, fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's put on the aviators and let's do this shit. Yep.
Sign me the fuck up.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And Footloose, another song that it was given. It wasn't. They approached Kenny Loggins with the premise like, we want, this is the movie, this is the kind of sound we want. Can you make us a song? And that's how Footloose came to be.
Yeah.
But Footloose, the soundtrack, is also absolutely incredible.
I don't know if I've actually listened to the whole Footloose soundtrack in recent memory that I could actually remember what's on it. but I'd be willing to give it a shot because I've been listening to like yacht rock radio on Sirius XM, which is all
which
like
channel is that?
That's channel 70. And no, we are not
70.
Yeah, we're not sponsored by Sirius XM either. But all they play is like 70s and 80s soft rock that you would hear when you're listening like on your rich friend's yacht. Which neither of us have rich friends, so I guess we're not going to listen to it.
The USS bitches allowed.
I got a toss up. I mean, like The Crow is definitely up there for like favorite movie soundtracks.
Yeah.
But after we started talking about the the tornadoes and stuff, and here's the tie-in, Twister. The soundtrack for Twister. And I'm going to pull it up quick.
Sure.
But so there's a Van Halen song, Humans Being, which is a great song. There was a Goo Goo Dolls song. Let's see here. I got to pull it up. Where is it? So, okay, so there's Van Halen song. There was an Alison Krauss. I'm not a huge Alison Krauss, but there's a Mark Knopfler song on there.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
There was a Soul Asylum song. Lisa Loeb and 9 Stories. Goo Goo Dolls. Like, there's a Shania Twain song. Like, I didn't like the Shania Twain song, but I mean, like Humans Being and the Soul Asylum song and the Goo Goo Doll song make that album. Like I loved it. Like I would always skip over the Shania Twain song because living in Canada, you always fucking you always heard Shania Twain, so you always just skipped over it because she was just annoying as shit by then. But Twister soundtrack is definitely up there and it's one of my favorite soundtracks. And Twister is one of my favorite movies for no reason because that movie makes no sense and it's not scientifically accurate, but it's just a good movie.
Yeah. Twister is one of my favorite types of movies where it's like you take the brain and go and you turn it off and you just have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it had what's his face that OD'd on it? Philip Seymour Hoffman and Bill Paxton. Yeah, I like Bill Paxton.
And Helen Hunt. And Helen Hunt, who wasn't Helen Hunt.
yeah, exactly. So another one was the Romeo and Juliet soundtrack. Do you remember that one? Probably not. Well, maybe. That one's a tough one. It was from the 1996 movie that had DiCaprio in it and Claire Danes in it.
And John Leguizamo.
Yes.
I saw that in the theater.
Yeah. So for some reason I bought that. I don't know why I bought. I think you know what? I know the song why I bought it was a number one Crush by Garbage.
Oh, that's
1996. I still love that song. It's a great song. I mean, it's a little creepy now that you think about it, but it's a great song. But I mean, they like the songs on that album too were like not iconic, but like if you like they just had the feel that fit the movie really well. Like there's an Everclear song on there. There's like songs that they really sampled heavy in the movie that really translated well to the soundtrack. Like Pretty Piece of Flesh by 1 Inch Punch. I mean, you'll never hear that song ever again, but the way that it fits in the movie fit really well. Love Fool by the Cardigans was on that.
Great song. Which
they really parodied that in Hot Fuzz, the Simon Pegg movie.
Did they?
Oh my God, you don't remember that? Oh,
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Hot Fuzz is another great movie. I don't think that has a good soundtrack in it, but there's a Radiohead song on there too. Like, yeah. Well, you got another one there? Or?
I do, and it's one of those soundtracks that like none of the songs were created for the movie. It was hand selected and it suits well. And it's one of the albums that I have. I made sure to hold on to it for many years. I can't even remember where I bought it from or where I got it, or it could have been a birthday or a Christmas gift or whatever. But Good Morning Vietnam.
Oh, dude.
Such a jam.
It's so good. Okay, so I'm gonna steal your thunder there, but now that you got me thinking, that movie came out in what, 86 or 87 ish, somewhere through there. I remember I was a kid, like probably 87 or 88. We drove out to Kamloops to visit family, and that was one of the tapes that I think my dad had bought from like Columbia House.
Yeah,
and we listened to that tape over and over again, and because like all the music was interspersed with like Robin Williams bits, and it was dude, it was so good. Like, I would listen to that right now. Actually, so it's so good.
Robin Williams as the character and the caricature of Adrian Cronauer interspliced with incredible songs. Like a lot of people go like wartime movie soundtracks, Apocalypse Now. No, fucking Good Morning Vietnam. Like,
but like people don't remember how dark that movie actually is.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Like there is some really heavy stuff that they talk about in that movie.
Yeah, there's.
It's probably one of my favorite Robin Williams like performances, just because of how like, emotionally involved he seemed to be in it.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's such a good movie and soundtrack. The whole thing just really good.
The radio pieces, which of course I would know this, the radio pieces for the actual movie, Good Morning Vietnam, was actually something that Robin Williams struggled with. And it's because he couldn't hear anyone laugh. He was always second guessing himself, right?
Yep.
Because the set was a radio studio and he was in there by himself. And so he couldn't hear anyone laugh. It wasn't until like day 2 or day 3 where they're trying to record all these radio bits where they finally figured out, just feed the studio, like all the engineers and the crew, the movie crew, mics into his headphones so that he can hear the response, because that's what he fed off of.
Yeah. Oh, and I could totally get that. Just like after seeing the way of like seeing some of his stand up, it totally makes sense that he would need that sort of feedback.
Yes.
Without being self-conscious. I know, like we obviously know that he's had some issues, and and I get it, but it was a fantastic movie, and actually I think I watched it like not even that long ago. Like,
I'm pretty sure I played the soundtrack like 2 weeks ago.
I haven't listened to the soundtrack, but I have listened or have watched the movie. So
yeah,
the last one that I have for favorite movie soundtracks, and this one's weird, and I've been actually trying to find the vinyl for it. And the soundtrack, in my opinion, was actually better than the movie. It was the 1997 movie Spawn.
Oh,
the Todd McFarlane with another John Leguizamo movie.
The guy's a cockroach. He just pops up.
Yeah. So Spawn was a weird soundtrack because like came out in 97.
Yeah.
It was a weird time for music. Like it was after, like it wasn't grunge and it wasn't post grunge, but it was like this weird, well, especially like this soundtrack, it was weird electronic metal.
Yeah.
Industrial metal. So like, just like, okay, like the lead track was Can't You Trip Like I Do by Filter and the Crystal Method. I listened to that.
I remember that song. Yeah.
If you've ever listened to just the Filter version of that, not the remix, it sucks so bad. It's terrible. Like it's like one of the worst songs. But you listen to the Crystal Method version, fuck, it kicks ass.
Yeah. They took that studio magic and just turned it up just a bit.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of Marilyn Manson anymore. I mean, I never really was, but like Long Hard Road Out of Hell was on that. Mm-hmm. It's a great song by a shitty human being. Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many people are still fans of Michael Jackson. So.
Well, that's true. But you really can't put Marilyn Manson and Michael Jackson on the same level.
Oh God, no.
But anyway, that's a whole other ball of wax.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's Orbital and Kirk Hammett. So Orbital was like a remix, like a DJ.
Right.
It wasn't a good song. One of the best. But there was a Korn song on this album. So I think it must have been like after Life is Peachy, or like between like really early Korn stuff was on here. And I was actually like, it's called Kick the PA. It's actually a really good track. There's a like The Prodigy and Tom Morello.
Wow, that's a combination.
Yeah, and it's really fucking good. Let's see. There's a Silverchair song on there. Incubus.
Silverchair didn't exactly do much. Like they might have traction elsewhere, but after
Frog Stomp.
Well, after year 2000, like the song year 2000, like they fell off of my radar. So.
There is a reason for that, and I know this off the top of my head for some weird reason. I want to say that the lead singer had some sort of he's immunocompromised, or has some like degenerative disease, and that's why they couldn't. I think he hit the booze and drugs pretty hard. So that's yeah. But there's an Incubus song on that album, and there's a Slayer song on that album. So it's just like one of my favorite movie soundtracks of all time, just for that reason. Like, but now that we talked about Silverchair, I'm gonna look this up just to see what happened to that guy.
Sure. While you're doing that, one other movie soundtrack I remember buying for a few choice songs, but that was it. Was the soundtrack to Cool World, which
I remember
is already a fucked up movie.
Yeah.
But like there was a couple of choice songs on that soundtrack that again, it's a scenario like you'll never hear these songs anywhere else.
Yeah. So I'm gonna cut you off for a second. He had the singer from Silverchair. Why you didn't hear from him for a while? He had anorexia.
Oh.
Yeah. At one point, he weighed less than 50 kilograms or 110 pounds.
Oh.
So, well, let's be honest. Like, male eating disorders are a real thing.
They are, because I had one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. I was anorexic twice within my lifetime, both times before I hit the age of 20.
Holy shit.
But yeah, like it's like that stuff will devastate you. It is a self-esteem, self-conscious, even at times, form of self-punishment, and it's a shame. Like it's.
Yeah. Let's save this one because we had talked about this like off air before too. We're gonna do a whole thing about like depression and stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, let's say that's a good conversation. Yeah. We'll have a big disclaimer on that. It's like, if you don't want to listen to this one, you don't have to. But it's gonna be tough.
We're not gonna blame you for skipping this episode.
Yeah. So don't skip this one yet.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. But yeah, Spawn, the soundtrack. I'm still trying to find it on vinyl because that's the type of asshole that I am. But it's like 200 euros. And then another 150 to get it shipped. So it's like $500 to get it from Europe.
You better get that thing like mounted in a display case if you ever get it.
I would never spend that much money because there's other records that I want more that I would spend that much money on.
Yeah.
What I might do is just go to my local record shop, which would be the Vinyl Exchange in Saskatoon downtown, if you're looking for a record place. And see if they can
not a sponsor yet.
Not a sponsor yet. I mean, I've wore their shirts like 3 times on podcast. But maybe I can see if they can order something like that in for me, if they can find something from a supplier or whatever. But that's the only way I think I would buy it, because I'm not spending $500 on a record, right? But yeah,
my are Footloose, Top Gun, Cool World, and Good Morning Vietnam.
Those are great picks. I think any of the picks that we had were not bad. Mine are Twister, The Crow, Romeo and Juliet, and Spawn. I mean, like, you could listen to all 8 of those albums and maybe only have to skip about 7 songs.
Which is a pretty good ratio.
That really is.
Yeah.
Maybe 10, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. So
something we go ahead.
No. You had a better segue than I did.
Okay, yeah. Something that we were teasing in the last episode is we were going to talk about cars of our past.
Oh Jesus!
And this came about, I believe, because it came about because of my vehicle issues from last week.
Yeah, and apparently they crossed over to this week. So
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
My God, Jesus, give me 1 week, just one.
Yeah. Yeah. No. You had mentioned something about your '88 Cutlass.
That's right.
Which wasn't a real Cutlass.
No, it wasn't.
No.
And I had 2 of them. I had 2 '88 Cutlasses. Anyway, we're getting off topic here. What was your first vehicle?
I had a 1985 Buick Regal Limited.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so the deal was back in the late 80s, early 90s to about 2005-ish. My dad used to buy salvaged cars from the insurance company. You know, like vehicles that were totaled off, and Dad would fix them. Like, he would never find anything that's like totally like not fixable, but like fixable. You know, change a fender, change a hood, change the front clip, whatever.
Yeah.
So I got my first car for free with this caveat: I had to do all the work to it.
Ah. Okay.
So like, I had to change the body panels, I had to do all the sanding, I had to do all of that stuff, I had to tear it apart. But I got a free car out of the deal. And some life experience. So, I mean, it was a pretty good trade-off. And I did a lot, like sanding, whatever. I never liked it, but I would go and do it. But yeah, it was gray. It had a gray interior. It had a light-up dash, like it was backlit. It was like straight from the factory. It was lit.
Fancy schmancy.
Yeah. And it was it had been painted, but it was starting to get a little bit rusty. So that made me sad. I drove it for about a year and a half, and then something was happening to it, and I couldn't keep it anymore. So I had to sell it, and it made me very sad. Like I think I cried the actual day that I sold that car.
I've cried over cars.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I burnt off so many sets of tires with that thing, and just, I mean, dude, like, okay, here's an interesting story. I should be dead right now.
Okay.
So, about 1997. Yeah, that was the year I got my license. Me and a bunch of buddies would go to the next town over, one of the next towns over, and and you go hang out with your friends from over there, and you'd drive like idiots, and like do burnouts and donuts or whatever. You just, hang out and bullshit and whatever.
Yeah.
So we're on our way back to town. We're on this really shittily, is that a word?
Shittily.
It is now. It's a really badly paved road. So like, I'm going to see how fast my car can go.
On this really badly paved road.
Oh, no, don't worry. It gets better. So the speedometer in that car would go up to 140 kilometers per hour.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, kilometers per hour. That's really, like, compared to like the speedometer in my vehicle now, that's not really that fast. Yeah. So there was a little pin there that held the speedometer. So I wound it up as fast as it would go. And it stayed there, and it was up against that pin. It took 14 seconds for it to get off that pin back to 140. So it was probably doing like 90, 95 miles an hour. Like, it was quick.
Oh, yeah.
Probably more than that. But anyways, that doesn't matter. So we're on this road and we're doing that fast. All of a sudden, it felt like I hit something hard. Okay. But there was nothing in front of us because I was watching. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't doing anything. It felt like we hit something.
Yeah.
Stop the car. Get out and look. Don't see nothing. All the tires are still full. Like, there's air in all the tires.
Yeah.
Like, keep driving. Can't go more than like about 40 or 50K an hour, and it just gets like thumping and thumping and thumping.
Okay.
Limp it back home. I drop my buddies off and I go to bed. My dad wakes me up about 10 o'clock the next morning. He's like, what were you doing last night? I'm like, I told him, like, nothing bad, like it was burning the back tires off like I normally do. And he's like, yeah, whatever, like, because I paid for the tires, and it wasn't a big deal. So go out and look. The front tires I had on the car were old and shitty.
Okay.
That thump that I felt, it ripped the face off the tire. So
you were treadless.
There was I was driving on the steel bands.
Holy shit.
I don't know, like, at the speed I was going when I hit that.
Yeah.
If the actual tire would have blown.
Yeah.
Like, by rights, like, I'd be dead. 100%, because like I would have went right into the ditch. But I didn't for some reason, and I'm still here to tell the tale, so.
You were meant for a higher purpose, good friend.
I guess so.
My first vehicle was a 1970 Datsun pickup.
A 1970 Datsun pickup.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Datsun.
Yeah.
Turned into Nissan. It had a 1600 cc. No, not cc. It was just a 1600 engine. And I drove it like that for a year. And then my dad comes up to me and says, hey, because we're a drag racing family.
Yeah.
He goes, you wanna race? I said, yeah, sure. He goes, you want to race your truck? Well, yeah, okay, great. He goes, you want a bigger engine?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
He goes, if we cut out the wheel wells, we could fit a small block in there.
Yeah.
So here's this 1970 Datsun pickup with a 350 Chevy in it.
Oh, man.
It would cook the tires.
Oh,
Utterly
for sure.
cook the tires.
There's no weight in the back.
Yeah. So, yeah, traction was an issue. But, my God, I had so much fun with this thing.
Oh, yeah.
I lost the truck on the racetrack. I didn't bet against it or anything like that. It was just one of those freak things. Maybe a push rod.
Yeah, like a connecting
let go
rod
or something like that.
Yeah,
exactly, something like that. Let go, because I was like, everything was fine. It wasn't overheating. I checked the coolant. I checked the oil before I went on the track. I staged. I pre-staged. The light went green. I jumped on it. Boom, the whole thing just emptied out the bottom.
Yeah. It was just time to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, my first vehicle was a 1970 Datsun pickup.
Wow. So
always fun. So fun.
Yeah. So I have this bad habit.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a ton of vehicles over the years. I have this habit of buying the same car or the same kind of car twice.
Yeah.
So, like, I had my 1985 Buick Regal. I also owned a 1990 Buick Regal, which is a front wheel drive piece of shit that I never should have bought. It was because it was such a piece of shit. Like, there was like fuel injecting whatever. It was a piece of shit, and even me thinking about it now is making me mad because I never could figure it out. I had two Chevrolet Berettas. They were both shit too. I've had two F-150s. I've had two Ford Fusions. It's just that's the way that I've been. It's just like I've had two of everything. I haven't had three of anything yet.
Yeah, you made the mistake twice. That was enough.
I'm probably gonna buy another F-150, just because that's what I feel like driving.
Yeah,
because you can get an F-150 that has like an engine and a big enough tank in it that I could drive from here to like Kamloops on one tank of fuel.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's like 1,400 kilometers on one tank of fuel. So,
geez, that's very good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is that. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I still miss my first car. Yeah. I had a lot of good memories in that. And, like, considering I live in the same town that I grew up in, I can drive by spots around town. It's like, oh, yeah, I did dumb stuff there. I did dumb stuff there. Did dumb stuff over there.
Yeah.
Dumb stuff over there. Yeah.
I had a few choice vehicles. I had a 1978 Oldsmobile Toronado.
Mm-hmm.
It had 2,000 original kilometers on it when I bought it off of a nice old lady back in 1998. And it ran on propane. So
Oh. Oh.
so the trick was, and the reason why we got it so cheap is because we had to convert it. We had to convert it from propane to gasoline, and so that meant redoing the entire fuel system.
Oh yeah.
But this thing, it was like driving on a cloud, and it had horsepower to go. It was like top of the line for its year, and
Yeah.
it looked ugly as sin.
But it rode. It rode.
Oh yeah.
That was like my Regal. My Regal. I mean, like you could be driving down shitty Saskatchewan highways,
Yeah.
and you would just sit there, just float. Just sit there,
That's
just
just
float.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
You never felt anything. You just fucking hung out.
Yeah.
That's why I got in trouble on that car. But
I also had I had two 1988 Oldsmobile Cutlasses. I had one 1983 Oldsmobile Cutlass with a T-top.
very nice.
That poor thing.
Do you remember what trim level it was?
No.
Well, that's unfortunate because because there was a Brougham and there was there was a Calais. That was a trim level. I don't remember how the tiers worked, but yeah, that was a thing. Maybe not in that year, but anyways. Or the Supreme too.
I did not have a Supreme. I know that. Yeah. It was just a 1983 Cutlass.
Damn. The only reason
I don't know. Maybe it was. Go ahead.
like the only reason I ask is because like back to what I was saying about like my dad fixing those cars, he had over 35 of them of the G body type.
Oh
like,
yeah.
like the Regal,
Yeah.
the Grand Prix, the Cutlass, and the Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
And my dad actually has a 1987 Cutlass right now that he's fixing to drive for himself. He's 72 years old and he's gonna drive this Cutlass, and I don't blame him one bit.
No, God, no. Beautiful cars, fun cars.
Yeah.
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 I that of all the cars that I've owned and driven, that 1983 Cutlass T-top was by far my favorite. But my goodness, as much as I threw at that car to try to repair it and try to save it, it was falling apart faster than I could fix
Yeah.
it. At one point in time, I actually had to pull the passenger seat, driver's side, or passenger side, front passenger bucket seat out because the rails had all rusted. And
Oh,
one
yeah.
of my buddies got into it, went to sit down and move the seat, and he just fell into the back.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And you
So,
know,
yeah.
like those T-top cars were great. They were. If you had a place where you could keep the T-tops that you weren't going to break them. Because I mean, you could put them in the trunk, but if you're going anywhere, you got to be careful with it, right? Like cuz you can't have them banging around or whatever. So the Targa top that the Toyotas came out with was a better idea because it was a solid top you could take out, but the T-top was cooler.
Yeah. it was.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah.
I have to wrap this up. I'm sorry.
What the fuck, man? We got one more segment yet.
I know, but my next interview is actually waiting.
Holy.
It's 8:30, and she's like, "I'm ready to go." I am so sorry.
We got a segment to do yet.
What's the segment?
It's what are you listening to? It's what are you
Oh
spinning?
yeah, that's right.
It's quick.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, what I'm listening to this week is something that goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the show was the record store day. I went into the record store day at the Vinyl Exchange, and instead of finding the ones that I wanted, I found Lives Throwing Copper, the 25th anniversary, and yeah, I bought that instead because I couldn't find the records that I wanted that were for sale. So I was listening to that a lot this week. And I was also listening to the Kings of Leon, Only by the Night. It's kind of something out of the blue that I hadn't listened to for a while, so I threw that on. What do you got this week?
Something that it was a song that was kind of hard to track down because I didn't buy the soundtrack. Oh, look at your co-host. That is adorable.
He's just staring at me. Just like,
yeah. Favorite nations and the setup. And it may not sound familiar, but if you have played Grand Theft Auto 5, you know this song.
The setup. Is it the setup?
The Setup by Favored Nations.
Favored, okay.
Favored Nations, yeah.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love and adore Dave Grohl. He is a treasure to the world.
Oh, we could have
so much.
We could have went on a whole rant about that today too.
He's done so much and gone through so much, and he's also like a huge fan of documentaries and movies, and not just like watching them, but being in them and putting them together. So off of his brand new album, Shame, by the Foo Fighters. God, that's such a good song.
I haven't listened to any of the new stuff yet, so
no, I'd suggest like I could listen to that brand new album, Medicine by Midnight, from front to back easily.
I'm gonna have to give it a listen. I know, like I've heard not mixed reviews, but it's just I've heard it's different. So, but I've heard it's good. So it's like I haven't listened to it yet. So I'm gonna give it a shout or give it a listen and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so if you gotta go, we'll call it there. It's been Lost Signals episode 13. You can check us out on Twitter at Lost Signals Pod, or you can check us out on the old interweb at lostsignals.ca. My name is Daryl.
I'm JD.
And we'll see you out there.
Take care.
God damn it, wrong.